I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread.
Once upon a time, in a small kingdom of tiny cottages, babbling brooks, and rolling hills, lived a little witch. A middle-sized wolf, an absolutely enormous giant. His awesome footsteps echoed like thunder throughout the land. Once upon a time, there was a king and a queen who, for all their wealth, still didn't have the most prized possession, a baby son. Their prospects in this direction were not helped by the king declaring war on faraway places like Malta. So he was obliged to be away for many years to come. But a few months later, the Queen discovered to her great joy that she was expecting a baby. And when it was born, it was obvious to all that it was indeed the King's child. The Queen's advisors wanted her to have a grand celebration and a naming ceremony, anything for a party, but the Queen refused. No, she said, he must be named by the King. Until then, he shall be called nothing at all. So that was it. Everyone would say, how are you today? Nothing at all. Eating all your cabbage up? Nothing at all. Meantime, after 7 years, the king decided to return home. He'd lost again for the 6th time in a row, and he was out of the World Cup with Gascoigne. On his way back, he crossed many mountains until he finally came to a huge river with dangerous whirlpools. In the mud, he saw an enormous footprint, and he didn't have to wait long for its owner, for towering over him was the giant.
Be by bum, I smell the blood of an Englishman.
Which was very strange, as the king was from Belgium.
I will carry you over the raging torrent.
The king was deeply suspicious. Giants didn't normally do acts of kindness.
How much will I owe you? You will owe me nothing at all. Always happy to help a king. You never know when they might come in handy. Nothing at all it is then, said the king, as the giant picked him up like a tin soldier and in one stride carried him across the great river. Soon the king arrived home to be greeted, not only by his lovely queen, but by a handsome young boy. He was amazed at this. And what is your name, young fellow? Nothing at all, sir, said the boy, until you give me a name. The king was horrified and horrified, but the giant wanted nothing at all. Oh, what are we to do? You idiot, said the queen.
putting her thinking cap on. I know. We'll dress the dairymaid son as a prince, and the giant can have him instead.
Capital, capital. He'll never know.
And sure enough, a few days later, the giant turned up.
I've come for nothing at all.
The king and queen pretended to be very sad as they handed over the dairymaid's son to the giant and a 5-pence piece to the dairymaid as compensation. With the lad slung over his back, the giant set off, but soon took a nap, as giants are prone to do in this sort of story. On waking, he called out to the boy,
What is the time, young man?
Time we were milking the cows, sir.
Oh, you don't sound like a prince to me. I've been diddled.
So the giant took the lad back and demanded a change of boy. This time, the king and queen dressed up the gardener's boy and handed him tearfully to the giant and a box of rotten apples to the gardener. Off went the giant, with the lad tied to his back. Soon he stopped for his nap. On waking, he called out to the boy,
What is the time, young man?
It's time we're planting me pansy, sir. The giant, who listened to gardener's question time, knew it was the pansy season.
You're not that prince. I have been tricked again.
This time the king and queen had run out of ideas, and the servants had run out of children.
It's no use, we'll have to hand over our boy,
said the king, and so, with a heavy heart, the prince was handed over.
Oh, you tricked me again. I will eat the boy with Brussels sprouts and roast potatoes.
After a sleep, the giant called out,
What is the time, young man?
The prince pulled out his pocket watch.
Goodness, it's time for a game of polo. Now, that's what I call a prince.
But too late, for the prince had darted off through the undergrowth and made it home in time for the game. The giant was extremely cross at this behavior and refused to help anyone over the river again, especially kings.
In future, I'll leave them to the crocodiles.
Which was strange, as it was Belgium.
Be by both them. They won't help me, so I won't help them.
There's more wolves and more witches and more giants here next.